right, the big question of the night is, can the Hawkeyes move the football? They should have a really good opportunity against the Wolfpack of Nevada, but you know what? Stranger things have happened for sure. Good to have you along on a Saturday night. It's going to be WHO After Dark. I'm Travis Justice. He's Ross Peterson, and it's a gold out at Kinnick Stadium tonight, Ross, as it's the first night game of the season for Iowa.
And you and I both decided to go with Blackouts today, which is right. So that's all right. Yeah. Travis, when I was a season ticket holder, I loved these things. I loved any of the theme stuff, the striped nights, the gold outs, the blackouts. I don't know what it was about it. It does enhance that sense of community at the game. And this game needs that. This game needs tiny little enhancers because Travis, I ran into an old friend of ours earlier today who is one of the most diehard Hawkeye fans I know. I saw him at the World Food Festival, and he said, my wife and I are not even going to the game. He came up to me and said, what do you think is going to happen? How do you think they'll do? And he said, we're not even going. This is the first time in a long time. Apathy is that high that a season ticket holder just not even going to go. And I would imagine, Travis, there's a lot of people like that.
I would 100% agree with you. The good news is, if you follow the Hawks on Twitter, we do know that Nico Organi and Keegan Johnson were out there warming up, getting ready, and hopefully that's a good sign if we get to see those guys. John says on Facebook, hoping for better offensive output. If not, what's the plan moving forward? I don't know if there is a plan moving forward. I mean, this offensive line still needs to improve, but now with playmakers in there with Keegan Johnson and Nico Organi, something's got to happen. But you and I talked about this on the Morning Rush last week, and that is, even whatever happens tonight, because Nevada gave up over 600 yards to Incarnate Word. That's an FCS team. It's hard to really say if Iowa has a great offensive night, if anything's back. This is not a measuring stick game. This is a confidence builder, but it's not a measuring stick game.
That's a way to – it's – I'm not even sure we can call it a get-right game. Like we've kind of kicked around what these different terms we put on these games. And this one's a really hard one because even with a great performance, and, I do think if you've got Organi and Keegan Johnson out there, it kind of modifies this conversation a little bit. But I think even with a great performance from Spencer Petras, it doesn't change this conversation that we've had too much because it's Nevada, because this defense is so bad and gave up so many yards to Incarnate Word. There's going to be that asterisk by whatever happens today. Now, I say that the return of Johnson and Organi changed that conversation a little bit because if they are the reason this offense looks a lot better, I think a lot of people will give a pass to these last couple of weeks and go, okay, you didn't have playmakers and now it looked a lot better. But I'm not even sure a lot of people will be in that mode, Travis, of giving a pass after this.
I don't think I would be in a pass after this. I really don't. I need to see a better measuring stick than Nevada. Now, Iowa 0-2 against the spread on the season. This game tonight, according to Betfred Sportsbook app, minus 24 in favor of the Hawks. The over-under is only 39.5. So think about that. Hawks are favored by 24. The over-under is 39.5. It's crazy, and I think right now with the Hawks, I'm betting the under until they prove me otherwise. I'm serious. I'm gonna bet the under.
Absolutely, and I would not think that the Hawkeyes could score 24 to cover that. I don't. So, the Vegas guys, we always say they know something we don't know, but this offense has been awful. This defense is spectacular, and I do anticipate we once again have another game where the defense is outstanding, lights out, maybe even outscores the offense. I hope that doesn't happen, but I could see a game where the defense only gives up a field goal or maybe 10 points and also gets a bunch of good field position battles by pinning teams deep.
Ryan says, doesn't matter who's on the field, quarterback not hitting his target. I hope it helps, but I've got my doubts.
Everybody does, Ryan. You're absolutely right, man. We're all seeing that same thing. And so, going back, we're building a lot of the beginning of this on a premise that we're going to have a much better offensive output today. Like, oh, well, what are we going to blame? Who are we going to excuse this on? Let's wait and see what happens, right? Because I'm not convinced that they can move the ball forward. When you say the question of the day is, can the Iowa offense move the ball? My prediction is no. My prediction is that this team gets a touchdown, maybe 2. I mean, Travis, so apathy is set in, maybe even pessimism.
Are you ready for this? I'm going to go out on a limb. I say they get 4 touchdowns today.
I hope you're right.
And I should say this: 4 offensive touchdowns.
Yeah, who scores them?
I think Laporta will have one.
Positions would be fine. Yeah, I think Laporta. You think the running backs get 2?
I think you have 2 running. I think you have at least 2 rushing touchdowns, and I bet either Arlen Bruce or Keegan Johnson get in the end zone today. That's what I'm going to do.
Playing? I mean, we saw him warming up, and we saw Nico Organi playing.
I do. I'm not saying he's going to get up a lot, but I do believe. He's going to get some playing time. He needs to build some confidence and just get some plays to get back in that playing shape. Yeah. Eric says, who misses Ken O'Keefe right about now? We've gone into this before. Do you really miss Ken O'Keefe? Maybe from a quarterback coaching standpoint, but the truth is not much has changed with the Iowa offense when it comes to who's running the show, because Kirk Ferentz is running the show. I mean, it's very obvious.
Eric, I'd agree with Travis 100% here. I've said this all for a long time. It wasn't Greg Davis. It wasn't Ken O'Keefe. It's not Brian Ferentz. It's Kirk Ferentz that's running this really conservative style of offense. They're the offensive coordinators. They're the guys running the plays. They're doing what their boss is telling them to do. And by the way, it's Kirk Ferentz who's continuing to bring in offensive coordinator after offensive coordinator after offensive coordinator who runs these plays. So I don't like the blame going to Brian Ferentz. I don't think he's done a great job by any stretch. I don't want him to be the next coach. I'm not defending him in any way. But if you want to blame somebody for what's happened these last couple of weeks, it goes back to the guy in charge.
If you want to know how Ross and I watch the game, well, first of all, we watch it on television, and I'm sure the good folks at iHeart are going to get me mad at me for all the advertising that's on the side. But if you want to check out this Fantalytics page, it's really, really cool. It's an interactive tool that you can follow the game, especially if you're an in-game bettor. If you like to bet in-game, this is a really cool tool to follow along with, and it gives you all sorts of great statistics. So I put a link on the WHO SoundOff Twitter page. It's WHO SoundOff. This is how we follow the game, and I think you might like it too, because it's cool and it'll keep you up to date. And well, for the people that like to bet, that's kind of the tool you want to use for, right? I mean, it's funny, Ross, because we were talking last week when we were in the studio watching the game, how the Major League Baseball games come up, and the first thing you see on the Major League Baseball crawl is no longer who's injured, who the starting pitchers are. It is the betting lines. And you can see right now on our scroll, Iowa -24, the money line's -110, the over-under is 39.5. And I even put the Hawkeyes are 0-2 against the spread. That's information people are looking for.
Travis, for our entire lives, when you would watch a baseball matchup, it would be 2 things that would be shown: record of the team, starting pitcher. Sometimes record of the starting pitcher. That's what would accompany the team name that told you Cincinnati is at Houston. Here's who's playing. Now it's the lines. Now it's here's the over under on the runs. Here's if you want to bet Houston to win that game, it's -640. Yeah, it's amazing how much it has changed things in the last couple of years, man. Almost blink of an eye.
So here's what's happening. The game's going to kick off right around 6:40. It's on the Big Ten Network if you want to watch it on television. Of course, we like you to do it the old-fashioned way and listen on the radio, on News Radio 1040 WHO, or on WHOradio.com is where you can listen to it. Of course, Gary Dolphin, Ed Podolak will be on the call. Now, the game will get over right around 9:30, 10 o'clock. So you're probably wondering, well, what about the Jethro's Barbecue Sound-Off? Well, you're going to be driving back from Iowa City, or you're going to be all jazzed up because the Hawks got another win, and you want to have a little fun. So we're going to have fun on Saturday night as we go on the air between 11 and 11:30, and we're going to be on the air till 1 o'clock. Now, I will say this: I'm going to make an executive decision. If Iowa were to somehow lose, we may stay on the air till like 3 a.m. because you are going to need another therapy session. I mean, that's something that's going to be probably needed. If that were to happen, I don't think it's going to, but we need to call an audible. We can go up to the line of scrimmage and call a much better audible than Spencer Petras can.
John Roberts put a tee time on the books for 7:30 a.m. for us tomorrow. Okay,
for you,
for me.
You're going to golf at 7:30?
7:30. So if we go till 3 a.m., I'm going all the way through, baby. I'm going to power through.
284-1040 will be the number to call. Again, it's WHO After Dark, the Hawks and the Wolfpack. We're going to come back at halftime, give our kind of a halftime assessment, and we'll be back right after the game as well.
I know you hate predictions.
Yeah.
What do you think we're doing at halftime?
We're talking about a 21-3 Iowa lead. How's that?
We're talking about a 10-3 Iowa lead.
Wow. I hope I'm right.
I hope you are too.
He's Ross Peterson. I'm Travis Justice. We'll see you at halftime, and go Hawks.
Go Hawks!